It has never been more clear than today that China holds all the cards in the trade war with the United States. And if you don't believe me, just stick around for the next 7-8 minutes and I'll explain it in depth to you. Hey everybody, I'm Spencer Hakimian and welcome back to another episode of What's Moving Your Money on Forbes. And on today's episode, we're going to in-depth cover the leverage that China now clearly holds over the United States in this trade war that does not appear to be going away anytime soon, and the demands that China may eventually make to the United States in order to take its pressure off the American economy, particularly on American soybean farmers. So stay right ahead. Thank you. We are now in a situation here in the United States where we have a crisis in the Midwest on farms all across this country. Soybean farms, corn farms, wheat farms, many other different types of farms here in the United States are having their worst harvest in 50 plus years. I'm not exaggerating. This is worse than COVID. This is worse than droughts we've had. This is as bad of a crisis that the Midwestern states, the farm states, have faced really in almost American history. It's unprecedented. Think about what happened. China is the number one buyer of farming exports from the United States, and they have decided to boycott the United States, all of these products. They have not bought a single soybean from the United States this entire harvest season. All of that income that farmers were getting is now being lost. And guess what? Soybeans is not like a pair of jeans. You cannot warehouse it. It will go rotten. You will lose the money. It's a perishable, expiring product. That is really why this situation is so drastic and severe, and honestly why we don't have much of an answer here. Yes, we can bail out our farmers, but to what avail? Are we going to do that every single year because we lost our biggest market? Is that capitalism? Is that the United States that we want to live in and represent, that we have to bail out our own farmers that were doing perfectly fine prior? It was not like this is a man-made crisis. Keep in mind, this didn't arise out of nowhere. This arose out of poor policymaking in the United States. And we have to consider that, yes, we can bail them out indefinitely, but to what end? Inflation, moral hazard, permanent bailouts of corporations, you name it. Is this what we want to do? Or do we want to come to the table with China and make some sort of deal so that we can go back to some semblance of normality like we had just a year ago and get back to doing trading and business? Now, there's one point that I believe China may bring up in the coming months as America inevitably goes to the negotiation table. You've already seen Trump soften his stance quite a lot on the Chinese. He already said tariffs at these levels are not sustainable. He already said that he wants to meet with Xi in November, and he already backtracked on his escalation a few weeks ago, and he said, oh, don't worry about China. It's all going to be fine with China. I think what China will ask for from the United States is explicit recognition that China has sovereignty over Taiwan. They want the United States to explicitly say that the United States, and by proxy, therefore, the rest of the Western world, recognizes that Taiwan is the property of China. That is their crown jewel. That is what they've been working 100 years for. This is the ultimate goal of the Chinese Communist Party, and I believe they will use their leverage over the American soybean farmers in order to try and get that concession. Now, will the United States do it? I don't know. To be honest, my personal opinion is that Trump himself, he would say yes. But the diplomats and the career employees in Washington, they might not say yes, because the United States, as a continuity, realizes how critical it is that Taiwan remains an independent country that is free of Chinese rule, not just for the semiconductors and for the chips, which is the obvious economic concern, but also to project freedom and democracy and Western values in an otherwise hostile region for American way of life in this world. So it is very interesting to see what will happen. In my opinion, it's inevitable that China is going to ask for it, whether they ask for it explicitly and publicly or whether they ask for it overtly and privately, I guess is yet to be seen. Nonetheless, it is definitely coming up in my opinion. Now, one final thing on the China topic is that China's economy is still growing at 5%. Keep in mind, yes, for all the troubles that China's economy is having as it relates to over indebtedness and its real estate bubble popping, which I've covered in extensive detail on this podcast many times before. China has an economy that is still growing at 5%. Sure, maybe it could be growing at 6 or 7%, but nonetheless, a 5% growing economy is not a disaster by any means. And on the other hand, you have the American economy, which in real terms, if you look at the consumption underlying trend of the American economy, and you take out all the mishmash from the tariffs, 1 month, 1 quarter is bad, 1 quarter is great because of import-export volatility, the American economy is bottom line growing at about 1% in real terms. So China has 400 basis points more growth to deal with in terms of leverage than the United States has. And you best believe they will use it to their advantage. So we have to be careful with China as we negotiate with them. China is not the European Union. China is not Japan. China is not Russia. China is not Ukraine. China isn't Israel or Gaza. China is an economic powerhouse that is growing and will very soon be the world's largest economy. In PPP terms, China already is the world's largest economy, but in outright dollar terms, it's only a short while away before China becomes the preeminent economic power of this world. And we have to be very careful as we negotiate it with them. By the way, same kind of thing you're seeing with India. Because India's growth rate is so high and so significant, Trump really isn't able to push them around. Have you noticed that? He can't bully them because they won't take it. They're growing so fast. You know, it's very easy to bully someone that's smaller than you. It's a lot harder to bully someone that's equal to you or even possibly better than you. So guys, that's all for today's episode. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you guys can like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.